Hi, my name is Alex, for those who don't know. I'm a 31-year-old single mom, and I live on my own. And where I live is a decently nice area. I'm not going to say that it's like top of the top or anything like that. It's a decent area. However, what I pay for at this apartment when I started here was about, let's just say it was like $850, I think. That's when I started here 4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago. 4 years ago. I knew I got something. When I got noticed that I was getting something from my apartment complex, I already had the intuition of they're going to raise my rent. They raised my rent. Now 4 years ago, like I said, I paid $850.
Here's the thing. She didn't need intuition. You don't need intuition. No matter where you live, at some point the rent is going up. And it's a blessing that you were able to live there for 4 years before you caught a rent increase. But I'm not going to jump to conclusions because maybe this landlord think that they about to get one over on her and they about to try to make up for those 4 years or those 3 years that they didn't hit her with an increase. So let's find out how much this increase is. But I'm just saying, yo, you should expect that increase to be coming. And it's a blessing that you was able to, kind of dodge that for 3 years living in that place.
I now pay $10.95. There's no gym. These apartments aren't the nicest. This is like 650 square feet, 700 square feet, maybe 725. I don't know. It's a 1-bedroom. I have AC coolers. I don't even have centralized air and heat. I have a wall heater and I have an AC cooler for the living room and the bedrooms. The bedroom. That's it. Okay? There's a pool that nobody uses ever. Excuse my language. Nobody uses. I don't understand why I'm paying $10.95. And then when I go and price like elsewhere, when I go and look elsewhere, I have a specific area that I do want to stay in. So there's that. That is a part of my budget. Then the apartments that are around me, they're all going for like $2,000 for a 1-bedroom. Why is it so much? And I sadly do not fit the criteria for government assistance, which.
Oh my God. I know she didn't just say that. Yo, it already sounded like she said, hey, she wants to live in a particular area, right? It would sound like she has some pretty high standards and reality check for her, right? She's like, okay, cool. I'm pissed at the fact that I'm going from 8 something to now I'm paying over $1,000 for the rent. But then when she look around in the other places in the area, like it's double what you paying. So again, you can't expect for the amenities and things like that to be better. I mean, you were cool with it when you moved in. I find it so ironic that people start to complain about the stuff that wasn't an issue when they moved in. Now, again, I've talked about in previous videos, if new management comes in and they make it crappy, you got a case right there. But in this case, I feel like it's just a justification for being upset that the rent is increased. But this is the thing. You said it's within your budget, right? I love the fact that she had as a budget. Shout out to her. She does have a septum ring, but she has a budget. So it's a beautiful thing that she at least understands the importance of budgeting. But let's be real. If the rent is $2,000 elsewhere and you are able to pay that's one of those things where I feel like you in a good position financially. Like, don't put yourself in a hole to just rush out and get out of the place that you're in because they increase your rent by, some hundreds of dollars. Is that something that you wanted to happen? No, nobody wants to experience a rent increase. But at the same time, when you look around and you look at what other people are paying, you're still in a much better financial position than a lot of other people. I'm sure that there's some people that would swap with you in a minute if they had the opportunity to take what you paying for rent where you're staying and paying what they paying. So that's just my thoughts on that. Let's see what else she has to say.
Absolutely blows because I pay my fucking taxes and I don't even get to have assistance because I make too much. But
oh, hold on. I went off on a tangent and totally forgot. She wants assistance. Now this is diabolical. Somebody that puts themselves in a position where they want to live in what I'm going to assume that she lives in a nicer area. And she's like, oh, well, they increased my rent by a couple $100. So I just wish I could get on government assistance and just have the government pay for it. I'm glad that you do not qualify because that's not a justifiable reason for you to be getting housing assistance because, oh my God, they increased my rent rent by a couple $100. Well, why don't you do what financially responsible people do? And they're always working on a year-to-year basis to increase their income, whether it is from their main job that they are getting a paycheck from on a regular basis, or they run their own business, or they got something else on the side. I think that a lot of people, especially Americans, have just gotten locked into one source of income. And if you truly want to build wealth and be financially free, that is not the answer. One stream of income will put you in a chokehold. And the best thing you can do to avoid that is to generate some additional revenue. Now, again, I'm not saying that you got to go and match the amount that you're making at your main job. Even if it's just a couple $100 here a month, that will add up, especially if you manage that money correctly. But I think it's totally sickening and diabolical that this woman would try to get out of the rent increase if she could by applying for housing and government assistance. Like that's diabolical.
But at the same time, I can't afford to live in an apartment complex that is literally like $2,500 for a 2-bedroom. That's just not, it's not fair. And this just ruined my day. Like, it ruined my day, and now I'm sad and I'm gonna cry about it. I'm still gonna pay it because, like, where else am I gonna live, you know? But yeah, this sucks.
No doubt, that situation definitely sucks. Nobody wants to see rent increases. But again, I am going to say the answer to it is to actually anticipate it. And that's what I think that a lot of people don't do. They don't anticipate the increases when it comes to their rent. And it's just something that we have to know. This is something that has been going on for decades, man. Like it's not like this is some new practice. If you move into an apartment building, I feel like if you are financially responsible, you should like few things. One, you shouldn't be living in a place that you can just barely afford. Like that should be number one, right? If you move into an apartment building, you should make enough money that what you're paying in that rent, even if they do increase it, it's going to get nowhere near what you are able to actually afford when it comes to your budget for housing. That's the ideal situation to be in. And I know people are going to be like, well, everybody isn't in that situation and all of the prices are high. They are. But that goes back to the other point that I'm making is if we only focus on the expenses, we are missing the most important piece of the puzzle. If you look at businesses, the balance sheet, man, you got your income and your expenses. We need to focus more of our attention on the income side of things. And like I mentioned before, you don't have to make a ton of money to be able to put yourself in a better financial position. A couple $100 here, a couple $100 there, cutting out some of those expenses, the expenses that you can actually reduce. If anything, people should look at this as a challenge in the sense of, okay, cool, the rent is going up. Let me use this as an opportunity to look at what are some of the expenses that I have that are variable expenses, meaning that these are expenses that are typically changing every single month, or they are expenses that are fixed, meaning they're the same amount every single month, but they're not needs. They're just things that are extra wants or nice to haves. Reduce some of those to be able to make up for that rent increase. This is all a part of planning and preparation when it comes to building wealth and achieving financial freedom. So if that's something that you are interested in doing, stay locked in with this channel, man. We're definitely going to be diving into it as we examine the things that are going on in our society today. I look forward to it. My name is Jay. On your screen will be another video. Check it out. Continue rocking with the fam. And you ain't got to subscribe until you're ready. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, stay blessed.